Hi, and welcome to this final episode of Season 27 of ECCB Connects. We end the season with ECCB In Action, a summary of the ECCB's work on its external priorities for the period January to March 2025. Stay connected. We'll continue after this message.
And in these parts where we're so exposed to shocks, economic, natural disasters, among other things, we need constantly to be building resilience.
Been spending most of our time discussing what was brought up during the conference this morning, so that's already a good start because the conversation is continuing.
A masterclass in itself of learning from each other.
Immerse yourself in an engaging, educational, and insightful conference. Register by March 25th, 2025 to attend online, and your name will be entered into a draw to win an exclusive early bird prize worth 500 EC dollars.
Thanks for staying connected with us. The ECCB has identified 6 external priorities for 2025. Ease of opening a bank account, establishment of the Office of Financial Conduct and Inclusion, establishment of the Eastern Caribbean Financial Standards Board, deposit insurance, development of a financial inclusion strategy, and establishment of a regional regulator for citizenship by investment programs in the ECCU. In this program, we highlight the ECCB's work in pursuit of some of these priorities. We begin with ease of opening a bank account. April has been identified as the go-live date for licensed financial institutions to roll out the basic bank account fully. In preparation for this, a number of licensed financial institutions have conducted a review of their internal systems to ensure that they are able to offer this service effectively. The ECCB has also been collaborating with the Ease of Opening Account Working Group in preparation for the rollout and to streamline the process. Deputy Director in the Financial Sector Supervision Department, Livia Burton-Mark, has more.
Since then, we've had some consultative meetings with our licensed financial institutions, and the purpose of this meeting was to engage and interact with the LFIs to get an understanding on the state of preparedness for the introduction of the basic bank account. It was also an opportunity to highlight any concerns they may have, as well as take on board any recommendations they may have as it relates to the rollout of the basic bank account, which we anticipate to happen in April 2025. To extend our consultative meetings, what we intend to do is to have a town hall meeting with the general public, giving them the opportunity now to present any questions they may have on the basic bank account, as well as the ongoing work of the Ease of Account Working Group, and of course to take on board any recommendations they may have to assist as we move forward with our action plan.
To further assist with the ease of account opening process, the ECCB has approved simplified due diligence standards for institutions licensed to conduct banking business under the Banking Act of 2015.
The purpose of those standards is to ensure that there is consistency as it relates to due diligence measures, which is instituted by our licensed financial institutions. So what does that mean for our citizens? It means going from one financial institution to the next, there is consistency as it relates to the information that is required of you, particularly where low risk has been identified. This further extends to all our member jurisdictions. So if you're moving from St. Lucia, for instance, to Antigua and Barbuda, the application of simplified due diligence measures would be consistent across the board. And of course, we know that this would assist in the ease of doing business for our citizens.
Work on the establishment of the Office of Financial Conduct and Inclusion in the ECCU is advancing apace. This office will be responsible for regulating matters relating to financial consumer protection and business conduct for financial institutions licensed under the Banking Act. Its work will include ensuring that timely, accurate, and clear information is provided to the public to facilitate decision-making relating to financial products and services, facilitating customers' complaints against commercial banks, ensuring that emerging consumer protection issues such as cybersecurity and data protection are addressed effectively, and assuring that everyone has fair and easy access to financial services. The Office of Financial Conduct and Inclusion will be established as a department of the ECCB. Chief Director Policy Tracy Polius explains why the need for such an office at this time.
We've been receiving a number of complaints from stakeholders across the currency union about engagements with financial institutions. But more so, we realize the methods of delivery of financial services are changing. There is an increased use of information technology to deliver financial services, and with that comes certain risks such as fraud and scams, and we want to be able to protect customers and stakeholders from the threats of such threats and risk. Additionally, the financial sector is becoming more concentrated. Our banks are becoming larger, and with these movements come increased market power, and we want to ensure that stakeholders are on a more balanced footing in terms of the interaction with the financial sector.
During the quarter, the ECCB collaborated with stakeholders to finalize the amended Banking Act and commenced a series of consultations across the ECCU.
To date, we have drafted the legislation to support the establishment of the Office for Financial Conduct and Inclusion, and that legislation is established as a section in the Banking Act. It's called the Banking Amendment Bill, and that bill is now before our member countries, the Attorneys General's Chambers, and the Office of the Chief Parliamentary Consuls for review and eventual passage. We are also at present in the process of conducting sensitization meetings across the currency union. We just concluded about 2 weeks ago the sensitization missions in St. Kitts and Nevis, and we are about to visit Antigua and Barbuda to have sensitization meetings with stakeholders in Antigua and Barbuda.
The Office of Financial Conduct and Inclusion is expected to become operational during the last quarter of 2025 once the required legislation is passed by all ECCU governments by September. Following the Monetary Council's approval of the concept note to establish the Eastern Caribbean Financial Standards Board for the regulation of the non-bank financial sector in the ECCU, the ECCB has developed the proposed design, structure, and functions for the board. The Financial Standards Board is established to create regulatory standards in 4 main areas: insurance and pensions, deposit-taking non-financial institutions such as credit unions, development banks, and building societies, anti-money laundering, combating the financing of terrorism and money services businesses, consumer protection and market conduct, and offshore banks, trusts, and mutual funds. The Eastern Caribbean Financial Standards Board will help to strengthen the protection of consumers and improve the balance of power between consumer and financial institutions. It will be a separate legal entity and will be responsible for the regulation and the supervision of the financial sector at the regional level. Chief Director Policy Tracy Polios explains.
So while supervision will remain at the domestic level, regulation will take place at the regional level. But we will have participation from the national regulators in the establishment of the regulations at the regional level. It's important because as the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union moves towards the establishment of a single economic and financial space, we want to ensure that all financial institutions face the same regulatory framework in the conduct of business so that it makes it easier to do business. They face the same regulatory hurdles, the same framework, and so it's easier to submit regulatory returns, and there's less scope also for what we call regulatory arbitrage.
The next steps in the establishment of the Eastern Caribbean Financial Standards Board include discussion with stakeholders on the design elements, drafting of the relevant legislation, and presentation of the legislation to the Attorneys General for consultation and eventual passage.
We are in the process of working on the legislation to support the establishment of the Eastern Caribbean Financial Standards Board. So the ECCB has engaged a consultant who will be supporting the drafting of the legislation, the legislative framework to support the establishment of the Eastern Caribbean Financial Standards Board.
Governor of the ECCB, Timothy N.J. Antoine, in his capacity as chair of the Interim Regulatory Commission, along with a delegation comprising other members of the commission, and the legal drafting consultant, has commenced a series of consultations to engage stakeholders on the establishment of a regional regulator for citizenship by investment programs in the ECCU. The consultations commenced in March in St. Christopher and Nevis, then moved to the Commonwealth of Dominica, and will continue in Grenada this week. Engagements are scheduled to be held with stakeholders in St. Lucia and Antigua and Barbuda in April. The consultations seek to engage a broad and inclusive set of stakeholders. Representatives from the government, the CIP-CBI industry, the media, and social partners are being invited to participate in discussions on the regional efforts to strengthen the transparency, accountability, and integrity of the CIP-CBI programs. During the consultations, the legal drafting consultant, Lydia Elliott, will also present her work towards the development of the enabling legislative framework for the establishment of the regional regulator. The regional regulator will set common standards and regulate, supervise, and enforce these standards. It will also investigate complaints and facilitate information sharing and engagement with regional and international stakeholders. We now move on to legislative updates. During the quarter, the ECCB engaged a legislative consultant to update and complete the draft legislative framework for the insurance and pension sector in the ECCU. The legislative framework is intended to, among other things, reform the law relating to the insurance industry, regulate insurance businesses and pension plans, and provide for the protection of consumers. Over the review period, the ECCB held networking meetings with ECCU development banks. The theme was assessing the dynamics of commercial deposits on the development banking mandate. One of the key issues discussed was current regulation and supervision of development banks. The ECCB also met with the heads of ECCU social security systems. The focus was aging and social security systems in the ECCU. The two policy issues discussed were financial sustainability amidst aging, and that discussion was led by Hiroshi Yamabana of the ILO, and healthy aging for financial sustainability of the systems, presented by Dr. Patricia Morsch of PAHO. A meeting of the Regulatory Oversight Committee was held in early March. The discussions were guided by the theme, Transforming the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union Through Innovation. All engagements were held virtually. We end on a light note. The ECCB concluded its 2025 sports term with the three houses, Blue Blazers, Gold Nuggets, and Green Eagles battling for supremacy. After the fierce but friendly competitions and bantering, the Gold Nuggets maintained their shine and value to tighten their grip on the championship trophy.
I was happy that all houses had the opportunity to dominate, so it was by no means one-sided. And that's important to preserve morale and hope. Apart from the intense competition, there was a spirit of sportsmanship and camaraderie. Spectator participation was consistently high, and there was mutual respect among competitors, officials, captains, and spectators. Thankfully, there were no notable injuries, and overall, staff had fun. I must say, the sports term in 2025 was quite an experience, and I look forward to many more.
We've come to the end of season 27 of ECCB Connects. In this program, we brought you ECCB In Action, a quarterly update on the ECCB's work in pursuit of its 2025 external priorities. The ECCB's theme for 2025 is Embracing Feedback, Delivering Results. We therefore invite you to send us your feedback. How can we serve you better? What do we need to improve? What are we doing well? Send us your feedback via any of our social media pages, Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn. You may also send us an email to info@eccb-centralbank.org or drop us a message via WhatsApp 869-662-2561. We look forward to hearing from you. Our weekly ECCB Connects programs resume in May, but we will stay connected with you via our social media platforms. Be sure to check us and stay connected. Thanks for watching. See you next time.